It's morning in India, and like most mornings, I am having eggs. However, recently I read some articles that eating eggs in India may not be safe. It may not be healthy. Now I know you can find articles about how chickens are treated or the certain chemicals or drugs used in production. I had a girlfriend in the past who would always talk about factory farms and having happy little chickens running around. So I know that finding safe, healthy eggs isn't just an issue in India, but if you're traveling here, you may have more of a problem. So I did some research about how I could stay safe eating eggs, because I like to eat them in the morning, and I hope this is helpful for you. It's no secret that most eggs in a grocery store are from chickens that were raised on a large factory farm in a tiny little cage, given food that has a suspect amount of nutrients, and probably given antibiotics and other drugs so they'll grow quickly and have as many eggs as possible. So if you're trying to buy safe, healthy eggs in India, your first best bet is to avoid the grocery store. You're gonna have to go to a village, find a farmer who you can see raises their chickens by letting them run around the yard, eating bugs and flies and earthworms, and treats them in a healthy, hygienic way. I know that's difficult if you're traveling in India, so what's your second best bet? Well, your second best bet is to buy organic, free-range, labeled eggs in a grocery store. Organic eggs? Organic?
Country egg.
No organic? What is country egg? Country, what is?
Country egg in good health.
Good health?
Good health.
What regulations does a country egg meet?
Farm.
Farm?
Farm.
Which farm?
Chicken.
He goes on to tell me that these eggs were raised on a farm near a big city not too far away called Madurai. And my concern was, in the US, it's common for food companies to label something as all natural because that sells better. But all natural has no regulations attached to it, so you could call anything all natural. Now in India, are country eggs just a factory farm in the country? I wanted to figure out where these eggs were coming from. So I saw a phone number on the package, so I called up the farm. We got in touch over WhatsApp, and he shared with me the location of the farm. He also shared some photographs of the chickens. I was wondering, are they living in little cages? I was trying to get that message across. And he showed me that they're running free, at least in these photographs. He showed me some publicity of them at a local event, and in general allayed my fears that they weren't trying to pull one over on me by labeling country eggs inaccurately. You can replicate the process. Any farmer who's going to the trouble and expense to raise their chickens in a free-range style is probably going to have an email address, phone number on their package, and within 20 minutes I was able to verify this information. If you have to choose your eggs without the benefit of a label, here are some characteristics you'll find in healthy eggs. Number 1, clean shells. The Food Safety and Standards Act states that eggshells should have no blood rings, fecal matter, or be cracked and leaking. That's a little gross, but I have noticed some eggs that have brown streaks on them, so keep an eye out for that. Another characteristic is a thick shell. If a chicken eats a healthy diet with calcium, the eggshell will feel thick and hard and won't easily crack. A thin shell might mean the chicken was sick with a disease like bronchitis. you are going to pay more for country eggs or free-range eggs or organic eggs. In my local store, a regular egg that you can get anywhere is 6 rupees for one. So 72 rupees for a dozen, which is about $1. Buying the country eggs is 100 rupees for 6, or a dozen is about 200 rupees, which is just under $3. Once you've bought the highest quality eggs possible, now it's time to properly store and prepare them. A recent study found that salmonella is still a real threat to eggs in India. You're going to get salmonella contamination on the shell of the egg. To kill salmonella, the FDA recommends you cook your eggs at 160 degrees Fahrenheit or 71 degrees Celsius. If you boil your eggs, then you're going to be above this temperature. You don't need to undercook them. The eggs should not be runny, but it also doesn't need to be overcooked. If you use an oven, you can make sure it's over the temperature by using a food thermometer. Or if you're fancy, you can sous vide your eggs to be the certain temperature. You also want to wash the outside of your eggs before cracking them. Wash your hands when you're handling your eggs. Just in general, make sure that anything that touches the outside of the egg, you're not going to eat off of. For example, you wouldn't want your eggs next to your vegetables or your fruits in your bag. I have 3 more rules to keep in mind if you want to have safe and healthy eggs. Number 1, the 2-hour refrigeration rule. I read an article by Dr. Sarub Arora who recommends that you wouldn't want to leave your eggs outside of refrigeration for 2 hours or more. Now, living in India, my power goes out every day, every few days, every week. Most of the time, as long as my refrigerator door is shut, it's not going to be a problem. However, once a month, the power goes out for 8 hours, so I'd want to be conscious that those eggs aren't going bad by getting too warm or being out for more than 2 hours. Second rule is the 40-degree refrigeration rule. So I just want to make sure my refrigerator is not too warm. I can buy a refrigerator thermometer if I really want to be particular about this and make sure. I can also just I just turn the dial all the way down on my refrigerator, and so far I haven't died or anything. Third rule, the 2-week egg rule. Basically, don't store your eggs for 2 weeks. You might have problems. If you're traveling and you want to eat eggs in a restaurant, choose places that are sanitary, hygienic. I would look at highly rated hotels and restaurants using services like TripAdvisor, Zomato, and reading the reviews. They're not going to poison me with terrible quality fruits, vegetables, or eggs. For more travel tips about India, check out my video, Is Living in India Hard?